Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome. So last time we met, we had started talking about the aphorisms, the wisdoms of Ibn ʿAṭā as-Sakandari. Ibn ʿAṭā was originally from Alexandria, Egypt, from the coast on the Mediterranean, which has a very, very long history in intelligent and philosophical academia. The great library of Greek works was in Alexandria. Unfortunately, it had burned down, I believe, a few centuries before the Muslims arrived there. But very quickly, Egypt became the heartland of Hellenic philosophy, of the Greek tradition. Even the founder of Neoplatonism, Plotinus, was actually born in the south of Egypt, and then he finished out his career in Rome. But later, when it became a Muslim culture, there was Ibn ʿAṭā as-Sakandari was a very well-known, in his lifetime, a very well-known jurist. So he was all about the law, very serious about law. And he was very disapproving of much Islamic spirituality, and particularly Sufism. There was a very, very famous spiritual sage in Alexandria during the same time named Abul Abbas al-Mursi. He was called Mursi because he was actually born in Murcia in Spain and had relocated to Alexandria, where his teacher was. And he was a famous teacher there, and he taught in the masajid. And this great jurist, Ahmed ibn ʿAṭā as-Sakandari, he disapproved. He never heard Abul Abbas al-Mursi speak, didn't really know what he talked about, but he's a Sufi, right? He must be into all types of things that we disapprove of. So there's a famous story that one day he was going to pray in a masjid, one of the big jami' masajid, and it was packed, crowded. Someone was giving a lesson inside. And he had gone to make wudu. He'd come back and he couldn't get in the door. But from where he was standing, he could hear the person who was speaking, so he was forced to listen. And he was really, really impressed. And he started to wonder, who is this person who's saying these types of words? And when the crowd began to thin and he was able to get closer, he discovered that it was that Abul Abbas al-Mursi, and it completely changed his mind. And he became very interested, and he became essentially, after being a very accomplished scholar in Egypt, became a student of Abul Abbas al-Mursi, who was very popular. When Abul Abbas, the teacher in spirituality of Ibn ʿAṭā, when he went to Cairo, the great al-Izz ibn Abd salam, who had been with him at the Battle of Mansoura, when they fought the French. The French had invaded Egypt, and they won the battle. They actually took the French king captive at that battle. They did so well. Al-Izz ibn Abd salam, also called Sultan al-Ulama, also a very great jurist. He said that by day we would fight the Crusaders, and by night we would gather in the tent and we would study the Risala al-Qushayriya, which is a famous text, with the actual teacher of Abul Abbas al-Mursi. And they said that al-Izz ibn Abd salam, Sultan al-Ulama, he would stand at the door of the tent and call out to anyone, whoever wants to know Allah, whoever wants to find their way to enlightenment should come in and listen to this man teach. And I believe it was Abul Abbas al-Mursi, when he came down to Cairo, they said that Sultan al-Ulama, who was actually taken very seriously to the point of, trepidation and deep, deep, profound respect, maybe even a little bit of fear by the sultans of the time, the Mamalik, he would crawl around in the crowd during the lesson telling people, pay attention, right? And that's not usually the way that a great jurist usually comports himself, but he was this enthusiastic about the teaching. These aphorisms, they are very, very well known to the scholars. The book is very famous amongst Muslims ever since it was written in the 8th century Hijrah, 14th century Common Era, to the point where some of our greatest jurists and scholars of law have even said that if it were the case that anything from the speech of human beings were allowed to be recited in our formal prayer, it would be the aphorisms or wisdoms of Ibn ʿAṭā. This book has always been a source of comfort for the scholars. It is a very, very deep spirituality, and we're going to get a chance to go through some of it this Ramadan. I will give you a preview of the first ḥikmah that we will start with next time we meet. And the first one, very well known, من علامات الاعتماد على العمل نقصان الرجاء عند وجود الزلل. From the signs that you're relying too much on your actions to get you close to Allah, because remember we said last time we met that it is not your actions that get you close to Allah, right? But it is your choices and your motivations, that sincerity that you put into the action. So from the signs that you're relying too much on your actions alone, it's like you're trying to buy the Jannah or Allah's pleasure, right? From the signs of that is that you lose hope when you make a mistake. When you make a mistake, you shouldn't lose hope, right? You shouldn't lose hope. Allah says in the Quran, "Oh, you people who are being too hard on yourselves, don't give up on the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And that falls into line with the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and we'll pick up with this when we meet next time. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ayyadakum Allah.